Who are you choosing to be today? Who are you choosing to be tomorrow? What is your plan for the future? What is your plan for right now? Are you really living up to who you want to be? Or are you kind of just going through the motions and ending up wherever you end up? What I want you to start thinking about is what your standard of living is. Are you living by other standards? Or are you living by your own? You see, a concept that came to mind this morning while I was working out was being a student of our own. Being a student of our own, meaning being a student of what we choose to really create in our life, what we choose to really internalize and wrap our individual process around. You see, because we all live different lives, we all have an amazing amount of story to tell. We all have these different ideas and our different paths and these different parts of our life that nobody could tell us. Like, we are the only people that can tell what happened. We are the only people that can tell what our reaction was and how we felt and the stories that we have. But I see a lot of people, Jesus, I see a lot of people not appreciating and respecting this own part of their life, this own story of their life. What I see a lot of people doing is playing into other people's stories. I see a lot of people falling victim to their own insecurities, their own small talking voices, their own smaller picture of theirself, and really just living for other people. I see too many people who don't really take the time to understand who they are, who they really want to be. They never become the real student of their own. They just kind of drift through life. They're a drifter, or they spend time being a drifter. This isn't the way we're meant to be. This isn't what we're meant to live through in life. What we're meant to live through in life is our own process of individuation, being our own individual, creating our own lifestyle, and wrapping our mind around life in the way that we deem fit. Not what somebody else tells us to do, not what is the norm, but what we find best about life. Our own process of gratitude and acceptance. Our own process of internalizing what we really want to internalize about life. How we want to see life. Being a student of our own. Being willing to... a big part of it that keeps most people held back from ever doing it is being willing to face yourself every day, being willing to face yourself consistently. You see, that's what it comes down to a lot of the time, is that we go through life and we have these different experiences, these different ideas come through our mind that we don't like. They aren't so pretty. They hurt. And we don't want to continue to think about them. We just want to avoid them. We want to stay away from them. And we want to continue to be comforted, right? We want to be in a different process where things are a little bit easier. You see, when we begin to face ourselves, there's a lot of things under the surface that we might not realize are there. And then facing those things can be difficult. Facing those things can be the hardest thing we've ever done in our life. But what's harder? That or the pain of regret? Facing them or facing them now, or facing them 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years from now when you pass away, when you're laying on your deathbed worried about all the things you could have done? What's worse, the pain of regret or the pain of progress? That's something you must ask yourself, and then you got to put it into action, man. You got to actually get out of the information seat, right, where you're watching different information that tells you to do something, and get into the action seat. You got to take action. Begin to meditate on your thoughts. Begin to journal on your thoughts. Begin to reflect on who it is that you've been in your life. Because, we all have a story. We've all been through some pretty interesting things. And it's up to us to be able to tell that story. And to be able to express our knowledge on the world. To be able to express our wisdom on the world and to others. See, I'm a firm believer that we're all here for one another. I'm a firm believer that all spirituality and religion is based around the idea of doing better for other humans, doing better for other souls. You see, if we all have a deeper meaning, if we subscribe to the belief that we all have a deeper purpose here on this earth, it's easy to see that those ideas are always connected to other people. Those ideas are always to foster a better world, to be one in a society that you're creating better, you're making better in some sort of way. When you begin to develop that mindset, you begin to wrap your mind around being all that you can be, excuse me, you lose sight of the selfishness as much, and you become more selfless. You become more giving to others and appreciative of others, because you realize that we're all one and the same. We're all in the same animal, the human, but we have different souls. But we're still connected. Those souls are. We have soul ties to one another. We're getting kind of deep here. What I really want you to think about is being the student of your own, being willing to face yourself and be on that process of individualization, so you can create your own life, so you can live the life that you really want to live, because that's what we're meant to do. Why? Because then you turn around and help others do the same. You turn around and really foster a greater sense of self within the world that then makes it better. That then makes it a more beautiful place, a more lightful place, if you will. There's more light around. It's not so dense and dark. You look at the most unhappy people, and oftentimes they are the most selfish in the most negative ways. They have a lot of dark energy. Things aren't so pretty. Their connection with other human beings aren't so great. So do you want to be like that, or do you want to enjoy life? Do you want to have a grateful life? Do you want to live your life to the best of your ability and make it a better place in the process, in some way, shape, or form? Right? We don't have to have some crazy amount of money. Like everything, all the jobs out there are essential. But what's your intention? What's your energy behind the work you do? If you are some sort of chef, you're providing good meals to people. Appreciate and respect that. Respect that these people will eat your food and they get that energy. There's some deeper ideas there about food and energy, but the energy and intention you put into that food you're making is going to change the way that person feels whenever you eat it. And at the very least, how you feel about it changes, or how you feel about it determines how your day goes. If you hate it, well, you need to get out of it or learn how to appreciate it. And that goes for anything. If you're driving trucks, dude, you're providing such a service to everybody. We all need truckers. We all need chefs. We all need carpenters. We all need all these different services in the world. But what happens nowadays is we find things to complain and bitch about. Or we are kind of drifting through life and we end up wherever we end up because of a lack of chosen action, a lack of reflection and really going for something that we want to go for. And that's the point where you have to take a step back and take responsibility. Say, I'm in this position because of me. Now I must get out with myself, with my own help. Nobody's coming to save me. And you either realign into a different occupation or learn how to appreciate the one you have. Learn how to respect the impact that you are having. Because there's always an impact. Certain jobs, they may seem less impactful for who you want to be in this life. That's when you realign. That's when you take a step back. But are you being a student of your own, though? Or are you drifting? Are you kind of just falling into wherever you fall into by drifting through life? Or are you going to face yourself day by day and become the better version of you? Define the actual life that you're meant to live. Being that it's one full of gratitude, one full of appreciation, one full of impact. Take that soul-inspired action and do something different with your life. Or fall victim to everybody else's ideas. Fall victim to the devil. Don't let him get you, man. Don't let him get you. We all got God within us. We all got creation within us. We all can be whatever we want to be and have gratitude for it. You see, but what happens is we let the devil get in the mix. We let the devil come into play and harm us in every way he can. We let the devil get in the mix and let us be less than we already are. Now, I've told you guys plenty of times before, I'm spiritual. I'm not religious. I would not call myself a Christian, but I'm spiritual. So I can sit here and use these words with you and these understandings and concepts the way that I deem them fit for my usage and understanding. And I think that with that understanding is that it's good for other people, right? God is being all that you can be. God is being a student of your own. Living through God's nature, being one with God, is being a student of your own, being your own self, and choosing to be the greatest version of you. Whereas the devil is the opposite. The devil is anything that is helping you become less. The devil is your own unbecoming. The devil is what is going to continue to harm you and hold you back. But it might feel good, right? It might feel incredibly pleasurable. We live in a society full of the devil. Instant gratification. All these different forms of momentary sustenance that keep us feeling good and avoidance. That's the devil. The over-entertaining world that we live in. That's being a student of the devil, if you will. A student of everybody else. Living by external means of living, of understanding all these different things. Being a slave to your own entertainment, to your own vices, to your own senses of pleasure. I think you'd like to be more than that. I know there's a part of you in there that wants to. I know there's a part of you in there that wants to express the greatest version of yourself. And it's never too late. You see, when we follow God and we appreciate ourselves, we appreciate our life, we live with gratitude, that's what it's all about, man. Pushing the mission along to others. Not pushing, that's one thing that a lot of people who are religious get wrong, is this like very forceful nature of pushing religion on others. Because you know the greatness that can be. But you see, what happens is that's not really influential, right? You can't force somebody to be influenced by you. You can't force somebody to pick up such a large belief system as religion. They have to find it in their own way. Again, how are you going to make someone else be a student of their own? How are you going to make somebody else be all that they can be? How are you going to make somebody else choose to go on the path of individualization, knowing it's one of the hardest processes to go through? You can't force that on somebody. You can lend a hand and be appreciative and put the energy out there, and that's obviously where things go right. But I've heard so many stories of people where at some point in their life someone tried to push religion on them, and now they hate religion. Now they hate any talk of God or anything like that. Now that's their own reaction, and they have to deal with that in their own way, and if they never do, then that's their own negative situation, right? But my point is that when we force, living through God isn't forceful. You have power when you live with God. You don't have to be forceful in your nature with anything, especially something like religion, once again. I get it. You're pushing a good mission. You're being a crusader. But, again, you can't really be forceful, man. You got to live with power. But we're getting not really getting off topic. This is the same thing. Be a student of your own. Be one with God. Push the message along in your own individual way by being the example. Be appreciative, live with gratitude. Guys, have an amazing day.